Hello again, everyone, and welcome back. Today I'd like to talk about the dark side of the astounding stories. You may have all heard about the astounding stories. It started as a pulp magazine and was later on taken over by editor and writer John W.Champbell in 1938. Champbell made the entire series super popular, and it mainly depends on the fact that he was totally fascinated by new technology. And so he showed an entire cosmos of how technique can influence the future of humankind. Well, we're talking here, by the way, of the golden age of science fiction. And when you don't know W. Champbell, you may know one of his works that was called The Thing, was later on also filmed. So, people, at least Champbell gathered a lot of interesting writers around his group, and they are still popular. For example, Asimov, Heinlein, Van Vogt, or L.Ron Hubbard. Yeah, you heard right. L.Ron Hubbard, the guy from Church of Scientology, the Psycho Sect, Dianetics, and all the weird tales of weirdo minds. Well, how did that happen? As I said before, John W. Campbell was pretty fascinated by new technologies, and mainly two facts. First thing, atom physics, and the second thing, his favorite was science of mind. The last thing depends on the fact that Campbell was pretty unable to recover his own memories. He lost his entire memories of his childhood, and he was also totally unable to picture the face of his wife or his children. That's pretty sad in a way. So it was understandable that when L.Ron Hubbard reached out to him and told him about, hey, I got the new science of mind, he was pretty curious, and he couldn't wait to hear, see, or read it. And he couldn't wait to get his lost memories back, I guess. Well, you need to know that L.Ron Hubbard was, at that time, pretty popular with the fans. He wrote a few novels, and he wrote one popular novel that was later on filmed with John Travolta called Battlefield Earth. So, Hubbard and Campbell, they were like big buddies. They were quite the same age. I guess Hubbard was a year younger than Campbell, and they had kind of same weird ideas and lovely topics. I think the entire crew of Astounding was a bit wacky in a way, and Hubbard himself suffered after the Second World War, and because of that he was in medical treatment, but he was not really confident with that, and he was searching for more, say, unconventional ways of treatment. Unconventional ways means, in a way of Hubbard, hypnosis. He was a total fan of hypnosis, and he was also an accomplished hypnotist. He showed off at parties his hypnotic tricks. Well, there were other party games people doing. He was hypnotizing the party guests. It's a bit creepy, isn't it? But, well, one day he told Campbell that he found the secret of the science of mind. He found the secret of the mind himself. And, yeah, sure. His theory related to the problem that the brain was divided in two halves, the analytic mind and the reactive mind. We have on the one hand, we have the rational mind, and on the other hand, we have this reactive side that could be affected when a person is unconscious. And so you can bring them in an unconscious state and hypnotize them. That was his thing. Hypnosis. That was his thing from the beginning. He was totally affected with these hypnosis ideas. So Howard knew that Campbell as well was fascinated by his ideas, and he needed him in turn to get his outreach for his ideas, and he get his audience, and he wants to get published at the Astounding, and later on write his books and all the stuff. So he really took care in a way, also if it sounds weird, he took care of Champbell and experimented around with Champbell. He implanted incidents in Champbell's brains when he went back to really painful situations in his life. He called it auditing, and they later on also took a doctor to their sessions to just structure and document the entire treatment. Well, an emphasis on this treatment was placed in prenatal traumas. Traumas that happened before a baby was born, that happened in the womb of the mother before birth, because Hubbard thought that the entire problems of mankind, all psychic problems he had in a way, because I still think that that was his main problem. He wants to cure himself in a way, if you ask me. That was the basis of Dianetics and of the Church of Scientology and everything. Was in a way his own trauma. So he wanted to go back to these painful situations and erase these first engrams of the brains and make more space for a more effective mind. That was his idea. Champbell's wife, by the way, was really pissed at the guys. She always met them at the Astounding, and they met with other science fiction fans in the cellar and made these treatments. And she said, this is a really unhealthy couple. They're ungood to each other. And she calls it also an offshoot of psychiatry. She was really inconfident with this science of mind from L.Ron Hubbard. I think she never tried it herself. So, well, nevertheless, in the 1950s, L.Ron Hubbard published Terra Incognita, The Mind, at the Astounding. It was a kind of prototype of Dianetics, and it took all these ideas that we can later find in Dianetics. So before the book was published, officially it appeared in the Astounding Science-Fiction. And Champbell edited the footnote, kind of forward of the book, and he built a trope with the mind, and the fact that he compared the mind with a computer, and well, computer was at that time also pure fancy, really fancy stuff, and he was extremely proud of this kind of trope he made as a forward in L.Ron Hubbard's book. So he compared the mind with a computer that is not running in the right way, and he wants to kill these arrows, and when the arrows are killed, there's new space, and there's new space in the brain and in the computer as well. So he considered that as his idea. The original goal of the book was indeed to provide expedition commanders and manager and people in higher positions with a kind of kit tool for a more proper working, more efficient mind. This is, in fact, the way to reduce failure, to reduce errors, to bring recorded trauma back in the brain of the people, to bring them back to painful situation, to get more potential out of the brain. It was the entire science that was driving around this book, the core of the book. When you ask me, I always have to think about Murphy's Law, that everything that can go wrong will go wrong in a way, and everything that a being can try out, he will try out. It's like climbing on a mountain. Every mountain will be climbed in a way. So this is how and why Dianetics happened. And well, one thing I think it was one of this pretty funny thing I found as well was that at a sci-fi convention and after L.Ron Hubbard was getting more critics, even from his doctor, Dr. Winter. They met at the beginnings, became his biggest critique, and he said, you can't use that as a treatment because it's not working. We have no peer studies, we have a lot of mistakes in the treatments, and he was a big critique. So the convention fans and the sci-fi fans, he also treated in the cellar and at Astounding, told him, hey, what about building a church? So you haven't that the problem with tax and with the money, so you can make a church out of it. When you can't be a doctor, be the church. And this is why, at the end, why Church of Scientology was built. And yeah, shit happens, huh? Good night.